Travis Wingutzel. I am furious with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints right now. Furious for what they've secretly been doing to destroy science. Not deny science, as they've always done. Destroy it. From the Book of Mormon, we read that the Lamanites tried to destroy the history of the people so that nobody would know that Nephi was right. This is exactly what I just caught the church doing. It's bad enough that they've been cyber terrorizing me on YouTube to shut me up, that they destroyed my website, that they destroyed my Amazon publications. But to blatantly destroy established by others' works, to protect the church, is unforgivable. And it has to do with the name of the church. I was playing mental games with AI Google today, just now. And so as I saw how the church has not only rewritten church history about the name of the church, and I caught them, and AI exposed it, I still kept going for the name of Emmanuel with the Egyptian sun god at noonday, Amun. And that's where I'm furious. This is my field. I'm the expert. I'm the foremost anthropologist of the ancient Middle East. And to protect the church, they are destroying my field of study. If you go into any of this at UCLA for Egyptian, Brown University for Egyptian, or foreign countries that cover Egyptian, they'll still tell you the truth. It is Mormons ordered by the leaders of the church who have gone into Wikipedia and destroyed it, gone into AI and destroyed it. AI is not self-aware. It is not an intelligence. It is a program by humans. It can only regurgitate what it is programmed to do. You probably saw the video months ago of the AI robot built by a Chinaman scientist who developed it, and it attacked him. And we go, oh no, it's self-aware, it's got vengeance in it. No. That scientist that was attacked put the programming in it to be attacked. AI can do nothing but what it is told to do in its programming. It is not intelligent. I, as an intelligence, can decipher Paleo-Hebrew. AI can't. Knowing this, I ran the test and asked the question, and AI outright lied because it can't do it. And so its programming said no to the questions I asked. Anybody who is literate and can read and understand what they read, Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi, chapter 1, verse 2. Yea, I make a record in the language of my father, which consists of the learning of the Jews. Which Jews? Modern Orthodox? Are you really that mentally retarded? It is pre-Babylonian captivity Egyptian. Jewish Egyptian. Verse 4. The first year of the reign of Zedekiah. That's the start of the Babylonian captivity, which 11 years later was official when they were kidnapped, taken hostage to Babylon. The temple destroyed. So thus, it is setting it up for pre-Babylonian captivity, Jewish Egyptian, Paleo-Hebrew. Language of the Egyptians. And so you need to know the language of the Egyptians. Jean Champollion finally deciphered the Rosetta Stone, which was in the learning of the Greeks and the language of the Egyptians. So you get down to verse 9, and we're told it's Jesus. As the footnotes reference Joseph Smith history for the first vision, I saw a pillar of light above the brightness of the sun, and to Moroni's appearing. There appeared in my room a light above the brightness of the sun. So here in verse 9, and it came to pass that he saw one descending out of the midst of heaven, and behold, that his luster was above that of the sun at noonday. We all are told it's Jesus. This is where I have destroyed this church, and why they shut me up so that nobody would ever know of it. So let's go back to the beginning, because that's where Vicini told me to go. The scholarly world, if they found out about this, would be furious with the church. They tell their students that you can't trust Wikipedia, that they give you the textbooks and the information. But dear God, oh, you did put them out of order, so I did have you. Huh. Oh my God, seriously? Am I having to go back in time? Or are you just messing with my mind? Oh God, this is all out of order. So I started with, what was the name of Joseph Smith Jr. 1830 church? The name of the church Joseph Smith Jr. founded in 1830 was the Church of Christ. Good. It's kind of in section 20. It was later renamed the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in 1838. No. After Smith received a revelation to do so. This shows you how AI is not an intelligence. It is not able to go over the Joseph Smith papers, even though it has access to them. and take the information on the documents, the primary source documents, not just the transcripts, by the church. And it is incapable of saying, on the 1838 Joseph Smith history, Willard Richards inserted Jesus Christ into the name of the Church of the Latter-day Saints that Joseph Smith originally put. Because it wasn't programmed to make that regurgitation reply. So, I have got them by the balls to the wall. I am drooling now. What was the name of Joseph Smith Jr. Church changed to in 1834? In 1834, Joseph Smith Jr.'s church was changed from the Church of Christ to the Church of the Latter-day Saints. I already know these answers. That's why I am able to expose AI and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am an intelligence. This change was made to distinguish it from other Church of Christ denominations at the time, which there were none. Even when it tells the truth, it throws in a lie. That is an apologetic insertion. Dumbasses. So here's that question. What was the name of Joseph Smith Jr. Church on the original document of the 1838 history? See, AI is able to overlook my poor grammar and sentence construction so that I can be brief so that you can see the question. In the original 1838 history documents, Joseph Smith Jr.'s church was first officially named the Church of Christ of the Latter-day Saints. Editor, a stupid, mentally retarded Mormon put that in. Who works at the church office building, was ordered by the church prophets to do this. It was never called the Church of Christ of Latter-day Saints. Which we can verify. Maybe I'm wrong. When did Joseph Smith change the name of the church to the Church of Christ of the Latter-day Saints? Joseph Smith did not change the church's name to the Church of Christ of the Latter-day Saints. Oops. Busted. And they, again, show the previous errors. You can't trust AI because of humans who program it. In overtime last night, I was able to watch Bill Maher, and they are talking about AI, and he gave the stat that it's 40% correct or 40% wrong. And I'm going, that's dependent upon whether or not the persons who are running the test for errors know the actual answers that were supposed to have been given. Because we're batting 1,000. 100% errors for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So, then, what was the name of Brigham Young Church, 6 February 1851? Thank you, Stanford. On February 6, 1851, Brigham Young's church was known as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's when it was later changed. The official name, however, was in the process of being standardized through legal incorporation. I already know the answers in advance of asking them when this kind of crap comes up. And this is what I've exposed also that they've gone back in to fix, in case anybody checks me on the videos that they may watch. But nobody watches my channel. They are doing this intentionally just in case there is the one person who has shown my channel videos and wants to do research on it. To make sure nobody believes me. To make sure nobody knows the truth. To make sure that the real truth of church history is covered up and hidden from everyone, from every source around the whole world forever and for all eternity. They are rewriting history, they are rewriting science, they are rewriting logic. Okay, that was the one I just did. Okay, so then we got to go back to the beginning for the next one. This is out of order. I then asked, did the Edmunds-Tucker Act disincorporate the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? Yes. So they haven't rewritten government documents yet. I'm sure Oaks is still trying to figure that one out. This act dissolved the church's corporate status. There it is. There's Oaks's influence. This is where Warren Jeffs comes into play. Because when he got arrested and was locked up, the police were interrogating him and trying to get him to confess without proceeding with a trial. He confessed, so there's no need for a trial. Right, Tyler Robinson? And he was recorded as saying, I am not the head of the church. We got him, church is true, Church of Jesus Christ is true, FLDS's church is false, everybody bow to us now, we're true, we knew it all along. Warren Jeff's lawyers then came out and clarified so that the FLDS members can maintain their faith bubbles of spiritual witness feelings. Oh, the same thing? And said he only gave up the corporate status, not the leadership of the religion. It's clear. Church. I'm a false prophet. Clear. Nonetheless, this helped keep the faith going for the FLDS church, that the church made sure to punish further with other violations. That the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints does the same. Bastards. So, next question. Did the Methodists who settled Harmony, Pennsylvania, incorporate their church? It is a trap, by the way. Remember, I'm the intelligence. I already know the answers in advance of my asking them. Yes, the Methodists who settled in Harmony, Pennsylvania, incorporated their church. With the first organization in 1795, and the land officially deeded in 1818 to the group known as Harmony. Where is this again? I told you it was a trap. Obviously, it's Susquehanna County, Travis. This takes us back to 2018 when I checked Google Maps. Harmony, Pennsylvania. It came up with 2 icon locations. Sure enough, Susquehanna County. And so I zoomed in, and it disappeared. It's in the forest. There's nothing in the forest. There are other buildings that are identified in the forest in Susquehanna County, but there was no Methodist church established or resided in Harmony, Susquehanna County, Pennsylvania. And so I laughed hysterically when a person thought he was going to introduce me for the first time ever that there's the Joseph Smith Papers. To put me in my place and show me the link to the document, the original source document of Mr. Hale. In the trade for land, Susquehanna County, Harmony, Pennsylvania, for Joseph Smith to build his home there. See, Travis? Church is true! Bleep you! And intelligence can figure this out. A mentally retarded person can't. And so, yes, doing the research, it was initially settled as Harmony in the 1700s. But because of the Harmony, Pennsylvania, of the Methodists, north of Pittsburgh, right smack in the middle of the road to the Manchester farm, to Sidney Rigdon, Ohio. And the infamous Solomon Spaulding manuscript that he obtained from the Pittsburgh Press. The church has way too much work to do to cover up all that they need to cover up to protect this church. It is too overwhelming. It is doing real research that you expose lies and forged documents. And thus why Egyptologists and Hebrew scholars who find what the Mormons have destroyed will go, wait a minute, this isn't true. Who put this in here? And they will never know it was Mormons. They will know it was never connected to me. But they will know it is wrong. Something is wrong here. We're getting to it. So yes, the Pony Express, when it came to Pennsylvania, needed to set up post offices. That's when they said, one of you's got to change. Susquehanna County changed. And it changed a couple of times before Senior arrived in Palmyra. Before. so that it was no longer called Harmony when Smith Sr. arrived in Palmyra. And so that document is forged. Whether innocently to protect the Book of Mormon, or maliciously by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to prove they're true. We'd have to see the original document and do some linguistic analysis on it. But it was enough for me to know, yeah, it wasn't Susquehanna County. It was also after Martin Harris. After. So that was done twice. Okay. So I checked. I've been wanting to know this, and I made sure I finally got it for the records. In the late 1700s and early 1800s in USA, did Freemason lodges incorporate? Senior and Hiram were both in lodges, pre-9/11/1826. Those who've been following me know the topic and subject behind what I'm talking about here with the Book of Mormon, Martin Harris, Harmony, knows what I'm talking about. In the late 1700s and early 1800s, Freemason lodges in the USA generally did not formally incorporate under state law. Instead, they operated as unincorporated associations, similar to how many other fraternal societies and clubs were organized at the time. Incorporation for benevolent and charitable purposes was a later development that became more common as laws evolved. Anybody been following me lately, especially this year? The Bishop's Storehouse, 1837. The Danites, section 119. Joseph Smith was never an incorporated religion for charitable purposes. It was a type of Freemasonic association. And so Mormons who gathered to a church had a bank as a town. Kirtland Safety Society. It was not an incorporation for charity. The bishop's storehouses were used along with the bank for a surplus. You know, like the 1.5 billion surplus for the state of Utah that they are refusing to give to those who are now unemployed because of the shutdown, and to the poor and the needy come November. They're hoarding it like the church hoards money. Joseph Smith was never to be an incorporated religion. It was an association. The bishop's storehouse was the way to keep the cities prosperous. They had banks. They had monetary system of economy. Book of Mormon says you can't have a monetary system of economy or you're going to fail. Because you're going to have greedy people who are going to want to take out loans from your savings and loan Kirtland Safety Society and not pay them back, and thus collapse the Kirtland Safety Society, and then Joseph Smith will be sued to get him out of the way so Brigham Young can take over the church. The bishop's storehouse was supposed to be in every town where the church was established, with a separate bishop, high council, not at 12 apostles, under the direction of the first presidency. Section 42 of the Doctrine and Covenants. So, got that for the records. So now we got to go to the Brigham Young ones. Did we already do those? We did, didn't we? Yeah, we already covered the 1851 because it's out of order. But that's why I went to the February 6th, 1851. All right. So, focusing on the name for the search, because I didn't want to get into the other stuff that I could obviously do more of. I'm focusing on the name because I was trying to see if I could develop a video for you guys. And this was by default from what I found. We're talking about the name of Joseph Smith's church, and this church's claim that it was Jesus Christ. The Church of Christ of Latter-day Saints. Wait, didn't you just say, AI, that that was the name? Nope, no I didn't. I've got the snapshot. No, you don't. Church is true, Travis. Return to church and pay tithing. If I ever see that, that would be awesome. Because it's a human who programmed it. A Mormon. Remember logic that I talked about earlier? Listen to this abomination that shocked me. Again, I already know the answers before I ask. And so, the hilarity of the name of the church, we now need to discuss the actual God of Joseph Smith, the actual Christ and his name. What is the Egyptian name of the Book of Mormon's God, sun at noonday? 1 Nephi chapter 1. If AI truly is an intelligence, it would have been able to see verse 2 and verse 9 and intelligently say, oh, right, the Egyptian names, we're looking for the one who is the sun god at noonday. Nope. It's programmed. The query appears because it's programmed to be based on a misunderstanding or a false premise. The Book of Mormon is false. There you go, Mormons. That's what you did. Mormon tampering with AI to protect this church and its name got AI to say the Book of Mormon is false, and everybody is stupid and mentally retarded and illiterate. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has the one true interpretation of words. That's why you don't read it. You just pray and get the right feeling. Don't you dare read it. Don't you dare use English vocabulary and comprehension. Don't you dare. The Book of Mormon does not identify its God with an Egyptian sun god. A blatant, outright lie. But it gets worse. The reference it makes to noonday are unrelated to Egyptian religious concepts. I didn't say religion, but I did put God. Ancient Egyptian beliefs, however, oh, don't you dare go onto my turf. And they did associate the sun's various phases with specific deities or forms of the sun god Ra. So I then went to check. But first, this also is of hilarity, importance of evil. The Book of Mormon, a sacred text for the Latter-day Saint movement, uses the phrase noonday in a spiritual and metaphorical sense. Bleep you, Oaks! First I went to who is Son Amun in Doctrine and Covenants 78:20. In Doctrine and Covenants 78:20, Son Amun refers to Jesus Christ. That presupposes that the first creed of Christianity is true. Do you see how AI is mentally retarded? Because we can go. I'd have to do some other stuff with it. We can summarize it, I guess, with a simple question. We'll try. Hopefully it won't cause me to have to ask more questions to expose it. Is the first creed of Christianity of Nicaea an anachronism of the previous Jewish scriptures. The first creed of Christianity, the Nicene Creed, adopted in 325 CE, contains elements that can be viewed as anachronistic in relation to Jewish scripture. Oops, somebody at the church office building forgot to fix this too. and it is also rooted in Jewish theology. A simple yes or no is not possible because the relationship is complex. In other words, nobody put in the programming. So those of you who are Mormon and know about the first vision of 1838, of which this is all about, knows verse 19. That Christianity and that first creed is all wrong, all abominable, and all corrupt. Not a single thing in there, not a single word is true. It's all awful and racist hate against Jews. Never go up against a debate with one who is an intelligence, and thus also the expert in the field. So, refers to Jesus Christ in 78:20. As Amen is identified as another name for God the Father in a pure language revealed to Joseph Smith. This is why I lost Kimberly. If you've been following, and you've heard me say this numerous times in great anger and frustration. I liked Kimberly, and I lost her over the Book of Mormon correcting the New Testament of the word charity. Remember Sidney Rigdon? Harmony, north of Pittsburgh? I know the answers before I ask. Joseph Smith didn't create his own language of Babel that nobody can figure out because they're not a translator. Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian. It's in the Book of Mormon. It's by Joseph Smith himself. And yet, this church, who don't even claim the title of translator, are now saying that the pure language and the translation of the Book of Abraham is not Egyptian. Because Egyptologists told them, no, Joseph is not a translator of Egyptian. That's Osiris on the lion couch, not Abraham. And Anubis is supposed to be wearing the headpiece of Anubis as the high priest. And he would never have a knife in his hand to cut open the rib cage to pull out the organs to put them in the canopic jars. Oh, no, 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 no. He would never do that. I see dumb people all over the world. And so this is how the Mormons at the church office building are now rigging this answer that I have exposed this church with. How they're inputting lies into AI programming. So, charity, in case you didn't know, if you've ever watched a TV show where the season or series finale ends with a marriage of the two main characters throughout the whole show, and you're frustrated that they need to get together and and then finally at the end, yay, the wedding, to end the series. Or a movie that has a wedding, the part where a person reads from Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 13, is it? You didn't footnote it to the Book of Mormon, huh? No? They did not. It's 13 verses. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, I am become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy, and understand all mysteries. There's some additional information that I need to give you concerning Greek translation. We will not do that for here. Just understand there's more here to learn. And all knowledge. And though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and am excommunicated for it because I forgot to give it to Jesus, though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Charity suffereth long, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, and is not puffed up, does not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked. I'm hearing that I may have to shut the windows. I probably don't have to, because he doesn't rev it up for a long time when he returns. We might be okay, but I hear him. He's coming. All fear and tremble. Is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Where does that come from, Mormons? The admonition of Paul, Article of Faith number 13, where it says that porn is not evil. You should embrace it. Seek after it. Charity never faileth, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, and Mormons are the same way, refusing to study. But when I became a man, I embraced spiritual witness feelings. I put away childish things. No more believing in the Easter bunny, it's the Easter beagle. No more Santa Claus, no more Jesus. For now we see through the looking glass of the latter days of our lives darkly, But then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, charity. These three. But the greatest of these is charity. So, from the Hollywood Entertainment, where are they getting this from? That's not the same word that's in my Bible as a Mormon. Oh my God. Out of my way so I can see what I'm typing. Corinthians 13. Okay? So we'll turn it to Greek. MGNT. And I will read to you the word for charity in Greek. Agapeon. Keep going. Agapeon, 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 agapeon. I've done this video for you before, going over this. Peter, do you love me? Come on. John 21. Okay. Oh my God. Which verse does it start in? 15. I'll read from the Greek. It's agapeos here. And Peter replied with, Jesus saith unto Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Agapeos. Let's see. And he said unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. Okay? So, Philo. Jesus asks if he agapeos him. Peter says, you know I philo you. The third time, Jesus says philo instead of agape. Agape is the word in Corinthians. Here it's translated correctly as love. In Corinthians, it is a false translation. It is wrong to call it charity. And so thus, the Book of Mormon, it's actually Mormon, chapter Moroni. And it's 7. And verse 44 to the end. We only need to go to 47. And we can start halfway in. We can have to start from 44. It's all part of the same sentence. Run-on sentence. If so, his faith and hope is vain, for none is acceptable before God, save the meek and lowly in heart. And if a man be meek and lowly in heart, and confess by the power of the Holy Ghost that Jesus is the Christ, see, Travis? Remember that anachronism? He must needs have charity. Here we go. For if he have not charity, he is nothing. Wherefore he must needs have charity. They didn't even footnote it back. But here it's 45. Yes, they do. They have 1 Corinthians 13, 4, 1 to 13 in parentheses. And charity suffereth long, and is kind, and envieth not, and is not puffed up, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, and rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things, and embrace porn, seeking after it. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, if ye have not charity, ye are nothing. For charity never faileth. Wherefore cleave unto charity, which is the greatest of all. For all things must fail. Okay? Plagiarized exactly from the Bible. Therefore, the Bible is true as translated, and thus proven by the Book of Mormon, an ancient historical document on the American continent from golden plates, not gold, because what does Joseph Smith, our founder, know? And I lost Kimberly over this because it's perpetuated among the Relief Society. Faith, hope, and charity, and love. They consider charity a new definition of love. Because this church won't teach correct translation. They won't make a correct translation of the Bible. They won't do it. President Ezra Taft Benson's first presidency statement on why we use the King James Version of the Bible made it very clear. Yeah, I know about the Article of Faith number 8, but we're using the King James Version. We're not going to translate it correctly. And I lost Kimberly, who had been indoctrinated by this church to believe that the Book of Mormon is literal history and therefore is giving us a brand new definition of charity, which comes from the Greek word karatos, to give. Thus, charity organizations, for which they get incorporated as a religion for, is karatos. A different word than agape. And so, verse 47. I told you over and over again, and lately as well, don't focus on the plagiarism. Focus on what's different. Here's what's different, Kimberly. But charity is, you can do this in a math formula. Charity is the pure love of Christ. Now, why would they have to give an adjective for love? Because philo is also another word for love. And so throughout the Book of Mormon, there are several places where it says charity, which is love. And here, near the end of the Book of Mormon, made it very clear which love it's referring to, correcting 1 Chronicles. Charity is agape. It is not charity, it is love. And I lost Kimberly. That is what they are doing with Amun. They are purposely taking Mormons astray to create a new translation of Amun from a new unknown language. Therefore, nobody can judge us like the New York Times when they found at the Metropolitan Museum the original Joseph Smith papyri and returned it to the church. All of this is designed to cover up and hide the truth. They don't know the answer. They don't even care to know the answer because they don't claim title of translator. And thus they deny the gift, by the way. A blatant, obvious denial of the gift of translator. Remember that Methodist preacher that Joseph Smith talks to after the first vision? Denying the gifts of prophecy and revelation, visions and translations. To be the head of Joseph Smith's church with the key of the Jewish Christ, the man like Moses. I mean, we could do that one too again. If the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, if the first president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has the key of Peter as the head of the church, why does section 107 verse 91 say that it has to be the key of Moses instead? And it'll run away and hide, I bet. It's an awful long one to type in. Should we try it? And it'll probably give some diversionary trap of, oh, he has all the keys, Travis. That's not the question I asked. So let's set it up. Which keys do the LDS Quorum of 12 have? Yeah, they did the bypass. The Quorum of the 12 Apostles, along with the First Presidency, holds all the keys to direct the church. And I'm going to have to fool around with it to get the right wording to catch them in their lie. What are the keys of Peter, James, and John? 4. These are the keys of life and salvation in the kingdom of God. The keys given by the Savior to Peter, James, and John, and given them to the prophet Joseph Smith, have not rusted. You notice how I never said anything about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or Joseph. Catholics believe in this too. Catholics, if you're listening, they're not just pissing off scientists. Have not rusted. They will open all spiritual doors of the dispensation of the fullness of times. And this isn't even AI. This is from Facebook. It's a group post. AI wouldn't answer it. It's missionary work, you dumbass. I've been going over that of how verse 22 in section 107 requires all priesthood key holders to vote for the new president of the church, not just one quorum. All right, so they refer to Adam-on-Diamond, which was a forged document, section 116. That was 40 years later when they wrote it. So then I went and asked, who is the Egyptian sun god at noonday? And that pissed me off, because they lied. This had not always been the case in Wikipedia. This is a recent development. I have the downloads of Amun as the sun god at noonday, because that's how I was taught. This is how everybody in Egyptian teaches. Now listen to what the Mormons at the church office building did. Not just at Catholics, which was a Facebook post. The Egyptian sun god at noon was Ra. Wrong. Let me read the rest first. The ancient Egyptians believed the sun god changed form throughout the day. True. He was Ra Horakti in the morning, the all-powerful Ra at noon, and Atum in the evening. Ra Horakti is what they did when they replaced Amun with Ra, or put the two together in the 19th dynasty of Egypt. 19 is after 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that whole Dendera, the one stone that they found with a whole long list of kings lists that does not compute with their understanding that Egyptian was established, or Egypt was established as a kingdom in 3500-ish BCE. And so they ignore it and hope it goes away. Nonetheless, lots of different dynasties before the 19th when this change was made. So AI obviously is wrong, because what the real truth is that the morning rising sun is Horakti, no Ra. And in fact, I think it's even Kefre. But I do see Hor as Horus, the Egyptian Christ, son Amen, by the way, and Akhet for horizon. Kefri, god of Egypt. The rising sun, yeah. So that's a 19th dynasty change to Horakti. Kefri was the original rising sun. They are not telling you this, that it was the 19th dynasty change here. And in case you didn't know and understand why this would be the case, to replace all Egyptian knowledge with the 19th dynasty, I did see extra news about Ramses II's display now open for the public. Who is Ramses II? Remember Hollywood? How they take Hollywood liberties of published works? You know, everybody got upset when Harry Potter movies didn't conform and comply to her actual books. Or Dan Brown, Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons. He changed his books to coincide with the movies. Yeah, well, there's a particular Hollywood movie that has been among the most popular ever. And is still watched quite frequently, still to this day. Called the Ten Commandments. With Moses. Because scholars during that time period were assuming that Christianity is true from the first creed, and therefore literal history documents, anachronism, and therefore their best guess was that the Pharaoh was Ramses II. Ramses is Ra Moses. Ra. Ra is the sun of the whole sky, from rise to setting. It is not singularly the noonday sun. That is Amen. Kefri, Amen, Atom. And so, yes, I know as the expert in the field that this is a 19th dynasty change that they are not explaining here. So I went and checked. Amen. I have the original where it's the sun god at noonday. And yet, Amun was a major ancient Egyptian deity who appears as a member of the Hermaptolian Ogdod, which means it's older than Ra. Amun was attested from the Old Kingdom. Remember counting back from 19? Together with his wife, Amunet. I've done that when I would talk about the flood story. The 4 men and their 4 wives. Count how many there are. Guess what Ogdod is in translation? 8. It's the flood story. And it goes back far beyond the pyramid texts, which are the oldest documents. His oracle in Siwa Oasis, located in western Egypt, near the Libyan desert, remained the only oracle of Amun throughout. With the 11th dynasty, about 21st century BCE, Amun rose to the position of patron deity of Thebes by replacing Montu. Anybody see where I did that picture with a certain eclipse on the 21st of August 2017? Initially, possibly one of 8 deities. What do you mean, possibly? It's right there in the document. The Hermopolite creation myth. His worship expanded. After the rebellion of Thebes against the Hyksos, and with the rule of Yah Moses, flip it around. What do you got? Moses Yah. Mosiah. 16th century BCE, and they don't tell you it's the 18th dynasty. Amun acquired national importance. The Amun priesthood, section 84 of the Doctrine and Covenants. Moses! Expressed in his fusion with the sun god Ra as Amun-Ra, alternatively spelled Amon-Ra or Amun-Ra, Re. That depends on your accent of where you are a scholar of. They did not have vowels. Thus, Amun, son Amun, phonetically the same. As I would get to, because I know the answers in advance of asking them. I did the research correctly. This is the 19th dynasty that they did not tell you about. The 18th dynasty is what they are first talking about, chasing out the Hyksos, with Mosiah the first. And then the fusion, as they call it, with Ra was the 19th dynasty that AI put up. On his own, he was also thought to be the king of the gods. You know, the king of kings, the lord of lords, the great high priest of Sun Amun. The hidden name. Section 107, verses 2 through 4, concerning why we say the Melchizedek priesthood and not the order of the sun god. What is the name of the sun god? What is that order? What is the name? Why aren't you telling us? Amen. See, the church can destroy science online, but they have not destroyed the scriptures that exposes their lies online. Scholars can find out that this is false or correct it, like I did, but they will never know and understand that it was Mormons at the church office building who did this. Amun-Ra retained chief importance in the Egyptian pantheon throughout the New Kingdom. Throughout the rest of the New Kingdom of the 19th dynasty onward, up 20, 21, with the exception of the Atenist heresy. No! You went back and anachronismed. 84 of the Doctrine and Covenants took out Moses and the Melchizedek priesthood, the order of Amen, and replaced it with the Aaronic priesthood of Aten. Akhet, Aten, the horizon of the Aten, Armana, with Akhenaten, who was Amenhotep IV. He did away with the Amen priesthood, took it out of their midst, and replaced it with the Aten priesthood, exactly as described about Moses, the David-Moses dynasty, Tawut Moshe, with King David. Amun-Ra, in this period, 16th through 11th centuries, held the position of transcendental, self-created creator deity par excellence. He was the champion of the poor. They're turning it literal history. And this is why Christians, with the first creed of Christianity, turning everything literal history, then called it all pagan, because it doesn't conform to the first creed of Christianity now. It is a false religion, and therefore wrong, pagan, heathen, apostates, etc. They all went extinct, and they entered into the Dark Ages because of it. They destroyed the knowledge of the Egyptians and all other previous religions and civilizations. So when the Catholics came to the Aztecs, the Spanish conquistadores destroyed the Aztecs and destroyed all their documents because of the first creed of Christianity, saying that they are the ones who are all wrong, abominable, and corrupt. Beam and Mot. He was the champion of the poor. And that's why the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints dismisses him. Just like Christ for Christmas, the dismissal of Christ every year. Or troubled and central to the personal piety, With Osiris, Amun-Ra is the most widely recorded of the Egyptian gods. Amun, not Amun-Ra. As the chief deity of the Egyptian empire, Amun-Ra also claimed to be worshipped outside Egypt. They don't even give the meaning of his name, like they would do others. But they do make the connection to Zeus and to Jupiter. They just don't know how. Because during that time period of the Greeks and then Romans, they created the same thing as Amun-Ra of the 19th dynasty. It's now Zeus Ammon and Jupiter Ammon, which is another phonetic spelling that they did not list. They have Ammon with one M, not the two M's for the Greeks and then the Romans. It's all the same. But Zeus is Yah of Mosiah, the first who started the 18th dynasty, Yah-Moseh, the moon god of Moses, David. And then Yah-Peter, Amun. Yeah, Yah is also there too. They will not tell you because they are not the experts. So this is what they changed to Ra. Ancient Egyptian, also transliterated, pronounced. Yeah, this wasn't done for Amun, was it? Cuneiform, or Phoenician. Oh, look! A pole with a flag out of it, and then a circle. Read from right to left. Romanized, or Re from Coptic, was the ancient Egyptian deity of the sun. By the 5th dynasty, in the 25th and 24th centuries BC, Ra had become one of the most important gods in ancient Egyptian religion, identified primarily with this noonday sun. See what these dumbass Mormons did? They know nothing of Egyptian. Egyptologists around the world, if they saw this, would be furious and demand that it be changed. Ra is the full sun. It is never just the sun god at noonday. That is Amun's position, with Khepri and Atum. And all of that is gone. To protect the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints with the one and only one name, Travis. Jesus. Anachronism. And so they don't even use Ra, they use Ra-Horakhti of the 19th dynasty. That's the picture for Ra. The 19th dynasty, which embraced Set, who murdered his brother and replaced his religion and took over the kingdom. You know, like Brigham Young did to Joseph. So, after I calm down for a little bit, is Isaiah's Emmanuel phonetically the same as the Egyptian god Amun. I should have known better. AI is not intelligent. It has to be programmed. No, the names Emmanuel and Amun are not phonetically the same. Yes, it is. So, rewording it, does Isaiah's Emmanuel Phoenician spelling include the circle as in the spelling of Ra? Because it previously told me the Phoenician spelling and showed it to me as I went over with you. The pole with the flag and then the circle. The Phoenician spelling. I already know in advance the answer. It's supposed to be yes. No. The spelling of Isaiah's name Emmanuel does not include a circle like the Egyptian sun god Ra. That's a blatant lie. The two names come from different language systems, but you said Ra was Phoenician. Outright lied. And so, back to Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14, Emmanuel. In biblical Hebrew, with Aramaic script and vowel points and vowel letters and some musical notations that we just don't know what the Masoretes were doing because they didn't provide a key for which meant what per instrument. But we know that music was played with the reading of this originally. 800 to 1000 CE when this was constructed by the Masoretes. Amun and El are separate words. That is correct according to the Isaiah scroll from the Dead Sea Scrolls in Paleo-Hebrew, also called Phoenician script. And thus why Phoenician has that one letter with a circle for the sun and the moon too. As I have gone over with you why. An eclipse. So I think it's nope. There it is. Is it all dark? Well, it's PNG, that's why. So it's called an ion, and it's technically a guttural ion, but that was a later creation, anachronismed back in time. So, somewhere in here, out of order, there it is. Ancient Aramaic alphabet. And right from left, and then down in the next column, right to left. You'll see where ayin is a sort of a J backwards with a line coming out of it. And then it has a little apostrophe, A-Y-I-N. That's the guttural. Ayin, simply put. That is the beginning letter of Amen, not the A, not an I, not an E. It's a guttural. But in the picture, it is that picture. So, I found somebody who had put the two together. Do the matching game. The ayin is compared with the Paleo-Hebrew Phoenician script letter circle. Emmanuel starts with the sun that is contained in the word Ra. And you noticed how I talked about it as a pole with a little flag sticking out? Because it comes from the Egyptian hieroglyph of a flag, also called an ensign. And in Egyptian, Sir Alan Gardner even said it refers to deity, God, as a title. So there in Paleo-Hebrew, Ra, as in Ra Moses, Ramses, the storehouses of Pithom and Ramses in Genesis. This is how Jean Champollion deciphered the Rosetta Stone using Coptic for the phonetics. Whatever. You had the Greek. You couldn't figure it out from the Greek? Nonetheless, come on, dude. 1822. And I was able to, don't even get me started. So, God, and then the symbol of the sun. The God of the sun. Sun God. Not complicated. Obviously, in the 19th dynasty, Ramses, Ra Moses. Obvious. Not complicated. Sun for ayin. And there it is, the sun at the beginning of Emmanuel. And by the way, I've already been telling you this also. The M is a water symbol above the head of a J-stroke human. High priest, from the Egyptian hieroglyphs of a high priest pouring water over his head. Aquarius also. The N is a V and a J-stroke for the crown of northern Egypt, where Moses was, Goshen, Heliopolis, the founding of Egypt by Osiris and Horus, father and son Amen. Heliopolis, the sun city with the Heliopolis creation glyph. Yeah, this is Genesis chapters 1 and 2. The flood story for the Ogdod creation glyph. Yeah, the flood story of Noah. So, Samson, is it Samson? Yeah, Samson's father's name is Manoah. High priest, Noah. It's actually Noach. The Chet for Chem, which is Egypt, with a T for the feminine, for land. You really do need to trust the expert and not, you can't trust the internet anymore. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has destroyed everything. Only those of us who know the truth can now know what to look for to expose these frauds. Emmanuel is the sun god at noonday. That's why the Book of Mormon also plagiarizes Isaiah, plagiarizes Emmanuel. Wikipedia used the Christian Matthew version of God with us for Emmanuel. You don't see that in Isaiah, nor the Book of Mormon. Christians, when they compiled their Bible together of approved Jewish scriptures, wrote it in. Just like Willard Richards wrote in Jesus Christ on the original document of the 1838 history. Almost 2 hours, 7:15. I cannot therefore put in all of the stuff that I did from Wikipedia or from AI. So I'll just put a simple little picture, go from there.